It had only been a few months since I left my small hometown for university. The first weeks were a nightmare. Crowds, traffic, unfamiliar faces, but I got used to it over time. I now had a tiny one-room apartment and supported myself by delivering pizzas. It was tiring, but it made me feel free, or at least I hoped it did. Everything was normal that evening. I was about to head home, planning to wrap myself in a blanket and watch a series in half an hour. That is, until the last order came. Someone else was supposed to take it, but my coworker, overwhelmed by the rush, asked me for help. "Please, it's the last one. It would be great if you could take it." I felt a slight hesitation, but agreed. And I thought the tip wouldn't be bad either. The order was located outside the city. As I left the brightly lit streets filled with university students and entered a more desolate road, a sense of unease began to stir within me. The asphalt ended as I followed the navigation, and the road turned to dirt. My phone's signal weakened. Darkness had fully settled, and the surrounding trees seemed to lean over the road. "Why am I doing this to myself?" I asked repeatedly. But I didn't want to turn back. Or rather, I couldn't allow myself to turn back at that point. I expected a villa with a lit entrance at the end of the road, but what I saw was an old, seemingly abandoned house. Some windows appeared broken, yet a faint light leaked from inside. It was as if someone had left a dim lamp on. I parked the bike facing the way back, not towards the house. Even this gave me a slight sense of security. I grabbed the pizzas, took a deep breath, and walked to the door. There was no doorbell. This strangely made me even more uneasy. I had to knock. I waited. No answer. For the first time, I felt that deep tightness in my chest. I called out, "Hello, your pizza is here." I tried once more, and again, no one answered. Not even the wind was blowing. The silence enveloped me so completely. I felt like even my breathing could be heard from outside. Just as I thought, "Forget it, I'm going back," I heard a sound from inside the house. Was it footsteps? I don't know, but something had moved inside. I stepped closer to the door and called out again. No answer. I was now determined to leave. Seeing my bike brought me a small relief, but then a sudden feeling arose behind my head. It felt like someone was watching me. My eyes involuntarily turned to the house, and I saw her. Behind one of the dirty upstairs windows, a woman was standing, completely still. The angle of the light left part of her face in shadow, but her eyes were large enough to be noticeable even in the darkness, expressionless. It seemed like she had no emotion on her face, but her gaze was not empty. It carried an intent I couldn't understand. At that moment, something inside me snapped. My legs moved on their own. I turned the key to start the bike, but it wouldn't start. 1, 2, 3 attempts. As panic rose, my hands began to shake. At that moment, the woman was still staring at me without moving. I could hear my heartbeat inside my head. I tried again, and the bike finally started. I sped away on the dirt road, but I didn't know it wouldn't last long. The bike suddenly shook. The rear wheel threw me off balance. Before I knew what was happening, I fell. My knee burned. My arm hurt. But the worst part was, I wasn't in a state to give up easily. When I looked at the bike's wheel, all the warmth drained from me. A metal wire had been wrapped around the tire. It wasn't the kind of wire that could have wrapped itself. Someone had deliberately put it there. Someone wanted to stop me. I pulled out my phone and called the police. My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely dial the number. I ran into the forest, afraid to look back. I tried to even suppress my heartbeat so they wouldn't hear my steps. A fallen tree provided a hiding spot. I crouched behind it and held my breath. And then a man appeared from the darkness. He had an axe in his hand. He walked slowly, scanning the area as if searching for me. I couldn't see his face clearly, but by the direction of his feet, I realized he was moving toward me. I couldn't move. Then I saw another movement. In the distance, the woman. The one I saw in the house was now at the edge of the forest. She was looking at me. She was too far to find me there, but I still felt she was staring directly at me. She didn't even blink for a moment. Then she started running toward me. I could almost hear her rapid breathing as she ran toward me. The distance between us was closing. At that moment, hiding was no longer an option. I sprang and ran. My feet stumbled on the ground. My breath was cut off, but the feeling that I would die if I stopped kept me moving. I ran toward the main road. I don't know how long it took. Time had lost all meaning, until I heard the sirens. When the police car's lights cut through the darkness, everything inside me emptied. I ran to them, screaming. I don't know what I said or how I explained it. Words just poured out of my mouth. I sat in the car while they checked the house. My entire body was still trembling. When they returned, they only said to me, "There's no one inside the house." They had only found a few sharp tools and animal carcasses in the backyard. They called a tow truck for my bike, and we left together with the police. As the dark road disappeared behind us, the tightness inside me didn't lessen. For them, it was just another case, but not for me. That night changed everything for me. The next day, I quit my job. I started therapy to try to cope with what I experienced. Everyone said it would help, but it didn't. No matter what I said, I couldn't erase that night from my mind. At night, I still see that woman's eyes. The moment she emerged from the darkness and looked at me, I relive it over and over.